Do you sometimes get sad when working online because things aren't going as well as you hoped they would? Well, in this video I'm going to talk about an instance where that happened to me recently and give you an update at the end how it all worked out. So stay tuned. So sometimes life as a digital nomad can get sad because business isn't always going as you wish it would, and bad things can happen in business online while you're literally based in paradise and having, a great place to live where everything's perfect, but you just don't feel present for that perfection because you're worried about business online. Now, this has happened to me many times, folks, and I'm going to talk about this in this video. Sort of reflect on this experience because actually it's happening today to me. It's happening today. I am in Thailand right now, and I woke up with an email, or it was the end of their business day in California, so I had a bit of an email exchange with a new management contact at a client in California at the end of their business day in California, which was my morning here about 7 in the morning. Wake up and smell the coffee, something's not right. There's trouble, was basically how I woke up. And the time zones make it really awkward because I was only able to email them a little bit before I guess they stopped replying because it was the end of their working day and it was the beginning of mine. And so I'm left with this lingering sort of feeling of frustration and sadness, and I don't really even know what it is right now because, well, the worst that could happen, what's the worst that can happen? If you're depressed or sad or worried about something, you always have to ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen? And the worst that could happen is I lose this client, which at this point is, I don't know, like 5 or 7% of my business. See, I built the business to a point, following my value system, following my instinct for taking on the good clients and good people to work with, and it's gotten really stable and really good. But still, when something bad like this happens, I get sad, and yeah, it's hard. Because in some way, this hurts in a similar way, as if it was a bigger thing that was actually gonna affect my life financially, as if it was a bigger thing that was actually going to reduce my quality of life or something like that. And the sadness in and amongst itself reduces the quality of my life, at least for today, so. It's an interesting situation, folks, and I have to take stock about why I feel this way. I mean, this is not bad how I feel today compared to one time in 2018, so like 4 years ago, I had a huge argument with a client that at that point made up more than half of my business or something like that, and it was super traumatic. I was worried about the future of my business because I was arguing with this client and starting to figure out how I can't work with them. Because I've basically decided in my life as a digital nomad and as an entrepreneur, I'm only gonna work with clients who I feel good working with. I know this, for some of you, will be like a no-brainer sort of obvious thing, but the world's pretty complex and relationships are complex and relationships can change over time, and the problem specifically with companies is that they can put in new management staff who you have to deal with, whereas previously you had a really good relationship with the management, and then this new person comes in and they're just not as socially competent, or they're not as on your side, or whatever it is. You can say a bunch of bad stuff about them, but the bottom line is it's just not working with this new person, and that's kind of the situation I'm in today. So why does it hurt? Well, it must be something inside of me, some sadness about people arguing, about things not going well, about people not respecting me or something like this that makes me sad. So I'm doing my best to sort of take stock of this sad moment. But I want to say to all you digital nomads out there that get sad sometimes because of their online business, you're not alone. And the other thing I gotta say is it doesn't really go away. At least at this stage, I haven't made it go away. A lot of it has gone away. A lot of the frustration, a lot of the stuff that would have made me freak out previously when I was on a more elementary stage of my digital nomad entrepreneur journey would have made me freak out. Now that stuff, some of it's not that big a deal, but a lot of it still is. And so little by little, as we learn to navigate different situations, as we learn to stand up for ourselves, our values, our boundaries, our businesses, what they mean, what's best for all the people involved, how to deal with people with respect and demand the same, and how to set clear expectations and all that sort of stuff, it does get easier, folks. But, you know, today I'm a little bit sad about this. But then I look up at these beautiful coconut trees, palm trees, and just sort of, if you can be present with them, if you can be present in nature, then you can realize that all this stuff is really happening far away. California, how much further can you get from here? It's like America is on the other side of the planet. And why should I be sad about some people over there? Because, well, I guess I decided to be connected to these people. And yeah, connections sometimes hurt. But the more you dare go out in the world and create great connections with people, the more you're going to experience that some of them aren't going to be as perfect as you might like. It's a process of refinement. I guess what I'm trying to get here is like, build your business and yourself and your self-esteem to the point where you can stand up for yourself and your values, be willing to lose people who don't fit into what you're doing, and it gets easier over time. So yeah, I wanted to just check in with you guys and tell this little story, and hope this helps anybody who's going through this right now. That if you're building a business, even if you lose your biggest client, if what you're doing is well structured and well thought out, and your values are strong, and what you're doing is really good work that's bringing value to the world, it's just a question of, you know, pushing yourself to prevail despite or no matter what happens. So all the best to you out there. I went to record this while I was feeling this way because I think there's a certain authenticity that can shine through as a little light, as the dark cloud of internet relationships with clients hangs over me. I'll catch you guys later, and yeah, feel free to join our community, which I'll put in the description. Bye guys, take care. Okay folks, so here's the update. The situation has worked itself out, and basically, or I worked it out with the client. First I had a conversation with the management contact who we didn't seem to be seeing eye to eye on email, got to know that person a little bit better who was new there, built some understanding there, and then later it was clear from the owner of the business that he was still, the way the management contact had updated him on the situation, there was still a little bit of animosity, which I got again this morning when I woke up in my inbox, and I looked at what time is it in California, and it was 4:58 p.m. or something like that. So I'm like, all right, there's a phone number in the signature. Rather than writing an email back, I just decided to call him up right then and there. Said, hey man, do you have some time to talk? And he said yes. And we went through it, and we understand each other's perspectives. And well, the biggest thing for me in this situation is that email, like the biggest takeaway is that email is not the best way to have complicated discussions where there's lots of moving parts in a situation, where there needs to be a back and forth dialogue. If we had just picked up the phone and had this conversation, you know, together initially when the problem started arising, this wouldn't have been something that took, you know, weeks to sort out. So the biggest takeaway is, like, don't take email too seriously when there's disagreement, and when it's time to pick up the phone, when it's time to get on a call, please do your part and talk to people directly, listen to them, tell them your perspective, and hope it's gonna work out, which in this case I think it did. So yeah folks, it did work itself out, and yeah, as a digital nomad, communication is key, and clear communication is key, and those things can only happen sometimes when you have a real-time conversation between two people. Now, time zones can get in the way of that, as they did in this case, and I think your life and livelihood as a digital nomad will be a lot happier and easier if you basically communicate directly when whenever there's any sign of any struggle, just get in touch as soon as possible and have a discussion about how to deal with any problems and take ownership of any issues. So thanks a lot. Thanks for watching. And I hope this advice helps you if you're dealing with struggles of online digital nomad problems with business. If you have any questions or comments down below, some stories about when this has happened to you, the dark cloud that came over your life when you were living abroad and working online, write them in the comments below. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys later.